I really think then was then and now is now. And I knew then. And I have some memories now, but I live in Kenosha. I don't commute. Thank goodness I commuted today. But from all I can read and all I can hear and the enthusiasm that Bill Geiger has for the Y, and from what I can observe as I walk around, I didn't do my 3.1-mile walk outdoors today, but I think I got it in walking around the Y building to see what had changed, and it has changed, and that's good. A lot of us think there should be many changes, and I think it probably has changed in many ways for the better too. I understand interests and I understand needs. And I say, you better meet the interests, because if you don't meet the interests of the members, you're not going anywhere. And if you can get a few needs satisfied, you'll stumble into them without even trying. And so I say they're going to be fine as long as they meet the interests. And they've done a marvelous job with the facilities, because that's a 1929 building that has been updated beautifully, and it's probably like the Rock of Gibraltar, probably will be here in 2029 or a lot longer than that. It was really built. To me, that equilateral triangle with spirit at the top and mind on one side and body on the other side, it does have meaning. Maybe it doesn't to a lot of people, but to me it did. And if you want to look at Luke 2:52, and Jesus increased in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and man. And that does it for me, but I'm not a church person, and I wouldn't say I'm not religious, because I am, but I have my own blaze marks. And spirit, mind, and body do it for me, and it did it for me. And the reason I went into YMCA work is because I had such a good experience, and I was given responsibility and recognition and affection. Recognition, new experiences, affection, power, and security, emotional needs. Either that or spear or reaps. You could say they don't mean anything, but they do. I just read a book by Jack Jacobson, and he was saying what drew young men to West Point was the fact that there was to be no lying, that they have an honor code. And that was the YMCA to me. I spent hundreds and hundreds of hours shooting baskets, and you wonder, was it worth it? Well, I was a PFC for 32 months in the Army. I played on 2 Army basketball teams, and the last one I played on, I ended up as Staff Sergeant Stripes. So I think basketball did me some good. My mother said, I always knew the Army would realize what a talent they had in you. And I said, ha! Basketball was part of it. I had some combat too, and I was glad to forget it with basketball. I've had one case in Salem, Oregon, where one guy entered YMCA work because I encouraged him when he needed it, and he ended up being the associate executive of all the YMCAs in the country. And I've had kids give pretty good money to the McGaw YMCA, and my name is on the Roth Holtz Memorial Fund, so if anybody wants to memorialize me, well, that's the way to do it. But you see it afterward. And one thing I've heard from quite a few is, you gave me confidence. I didn't think Evanston kids ever lacked confidence. But Canada can challenge you a little bit. Well, I remember one girl that was in Brillantine, and she was regarded as sort of a dimwit, a dumb blonde, and she had one of the hardest parts that Brillantine ever had. If you ever try to do Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, the key role, who was it, Carol Channing had that role, and this gal from Evanston really knocked it. Another time at Brillantine, I remember there was a girl that lost her voice completely when we were doing a benefit show for Downey Veterans Hospital. We did a couple of shows up there, and she lost her voice, and she didn't stop. Once was in a little Abner, and she said, "You can tell when there's love in a home," and she spoke it. And one of these Brooklyn guys I sounded like turned around and says, "That's the most beautiful thing I ever heard." She spoke it. She didn't lose it. I remember some of the guys in Brillantine were on the football team, and they were playing ping pong in one of the day rooms up at Downey Veterans Hospital. And I said, "Oh, there's some of our guys now playing ping pong." I said, well, those are with the most dangerous patients we have in the place. So they were having experiences off campus. Well, I hope every boy and girl and man and woman, resident, family, has as good of an experience as I had. And in many ways, they're having better experiences today. And I just hope it keeps coming. There's nothing wrong happening. Then was then, now is now, and tomorrow's tomorrow. If you're ever up my way in Kenosha, there's a YMCA that's closing, and a new beautiful one has been erected. But the old YMCA is a carbon copy of Evanston. And if you go up to Green Bay and root for those wonderful Packers, you'll see the Green Bay YMCA, and it's a carbon copy of Evanston. So the National YMCA Architectural Services did a good job. It is a beautiful Y, I think. My dad called Evanston Y the poor man's country club. And in some ways, I thought it was beautiful when it was dark, like Michigan Shores or the Chicago Athletic Club or whatever. Now it's lightened up because there was a period of time when everything had to be lightened up. And there's nothing wrong with being lightened up either, but there's nothing wrong with dark wood and wrought iron, and there was a lot of that too. It was a beautiful Y then, and it had a beautiful tiled pool, and now it's got two magnificent pools. So, well, there's a tribute to James Patton, the Wheat King, that's over the fireplace in the adult lounge, and I hope that's always kept there. And there's sayings that are arched into the fireplaces in what was the boys' lobby. I don't know what they call it now, but there's some of that. Beam ceilings. At one time there was leaded glass in the front doors. Well, now you can go through the door without putting your hand through a pane of leaded glass. But I think it's fine, and they've got ramps in that they didn't used to have, and I just think it was a beautiful Y, and it continues to be. Intangibles, and I don't use it very often. I think it's a terrific word. I wish I'd thought of it many years ago to use it, but I think it's the intangibles. It is teachable moments and friendships, fun, values, spirit, mind, and body. It all adds up to character. That's what counts.